Okay, GM2 YouTube GM. I am the world's first Cave 8 completionist, and I'm going to teach you how to do the same today. It is doable. If you're like, how tough is Mohka? Before we even get into anything, if you're like, how tough is Mohka? Is this a doable fight for me? I would compare it in difficulty to like Colosseum. It's incredibly hard. It's incredibly hard. It took me like 2.5 hours to get a completion, and I die constantly. It's tough. So if you're like, can I just go in and get like Cave 8 clears, like no problem? No, this is hard. It's going to take some work. What you can do though, is if you're like, okay, I'm not that tier of gamer, what you can do is go like to Cave 4 and still get loot. People have gotten boots on, I think, Cave 3. So you can still get loot for sure. And the boots are 1.6 bill right now. They're crazy rare, crazy expensive. So there's money to be made. So even if you're not like capable of Cave 8 or whatever, still worth doing the content. Very much so. Very much so. But we'll get into it. First, I'm going to explain like the setup. Okay, so why are we doing what we're doing? Okay. First things first, I go in wearing this. Okay. So this is the best possible gear that we know of right now. I go in wearing max range. Now, at first, I was running max scythe with ink because it is better DPS than T-bow. It is. The problem is that Mohka melees you through prayer really hard. So it could be it's possible to melee the boss, and we haven't figured it out yet. It could be like a Yama situation. I don't know. Right now, I know it's not feasible. Like, there's no chance we can melee this boss and survive, so we're running ranged. We may do a new guide in the future if we find some crazy stuff and can do something better, but for now, this is what we're doing. Ranged is really good, okay? T-bow is within about 5% of ink and scythe, okay? So T-bow is very solid. It's not terrible. We are using Fulmissori, Quiver, the typical max. I am not using Venator Ring. Why? Venator Ring is not a max hit. So it is not ever worth using Venator Ring. It may be with certain Scobo setups or something, I don't know. But if it doesn't give you a max hit, Lightbearer is a billion times better. I'd probably bet even if it does give you a max hit, the Lightbearer is going to be better because specs are so good. There's so much downtime during the boss where your Lightbearer is giving you spec back. So very likely you just want to wear Lightbearer. Just camp that. It's great. It's very strong. Now, one of the other weird things in the setup I bring is because we're using T-bow and the boss can be poisoned, I use poison arrows. So Dragon Arrows poison ++. These do 4 poison damage. This is just free bonus damage against the boss because he can be poisoned. You could do something weird like a blowpipe tag or something like that, but Dragon Arrows are totally free DPS. They're pretty expensive. They cost almost 3k a piece. The boss drops a ton of money. It's worth the premium. Like, these arrows are very worth using. And I bring Buckler to increase the ZCB's accuracy. That's the only reason I bring it. You could also elect to just wear the Book of the Dead for an extra slot. So, like, bring an extra brew or something. Totally fine. How about the inventory? Okay. We've got T-bow. We also have Ralos. So Ralos is worse than a ZCB spec on average. The boss has close to 500 health. And then in each cave, there's 8 caves of Mohka. So the boss is resetting to a little over 500 health each cave. So if you open with a ZCB spec, awesome. Like, you get the full damage. But there's a lot of times you're going to... The phase is going to take a while. And you're going to get a ton of spec and it's going to get wasted. So for later sections, what I've been doing is opening with a Ralos and then using ZCB later. Where it gets almost the full damage, like 80 to 90 damage. That's been working super well. So I'd highly recommend... Bring Ralos if you can. It's not a huge deal if you can't, though. Like, this is not a make or break. ZCB is a better spec. This just lets you fit in more specs, right? So that's the idea. More damage. The Ralos, for the full drain, Mohka has 90 defense and can be drained down to 60 at most. Ralos drains per hit splat 27 defense. That means if you land 1 splat, you're done. Stop. You're good. So you just gotta land 1. Other weird thing, we have Thralls, you know, obvious runes like Thrall Death Charge. Double Death Charge is insanely important. If you have not done Yama for double Death Charge, I would say there is no better place in the game for double Death Charge than here. Even Kefri or like stuff in Toa, double Death Charge is broken. It's so good. There was a billion ads during the fight. You one-shot them all. You're constantly getting spec back. So no double Death Charge is trolling. get double death charge. Go send some Yama, get the double death charge. I would say it's not worth sending this content without it. Like, go get it first, for sure. Other weird items. We have an Emberlight. We have a Purging Staff. And we have a Scobo. You must have the Scobo. The rest of these don't matter. So, as long as you have... We need 3 types of Demon Bane. That's the important thing. Not how good that Demon Bane is. What matters is we have 3 types of Demon Bane. The only bow that's Demon Bane is a Scobo. So you need the Scobo. But, Purging Staff casts Dark Demon Bane, which is Demon Bane. You can literally use a Slayer Staff. It's the exact same. It's the exact same. I have a Purging Staff, so I bring it. You don't need to use a Purging Staff. You could use anything else. You do not need this. Emberlight is good. It does a tiny bit more damage for a couple parts of the fight, so it does a little bit. But Arclight is totally fine. Just bring an Arclight. I want to do this. Arclight is totally fine because what it needs to do is one-shot the ads, and an Arclight does the same thing as Emberlight. They both work. So, the only Demon Bane you need is the Scobo. If you don't have a T-Bow, and you're like, can I do this, boss? Is it possible? Scobo. And you can see, I've plugged in, so these are the setups, right? You can see T-Bow is 11.55, and that doesn't include the free poison damage either, so the poison brings it up a little bit more. So, something to keep in mind. This is closer to like 12 with that poison damage. Gearscape doesn't currently have poison involved, so you can't see that. Second best is Scobo. Why do I have Scobo with Void instead of Masori? You don't have to plug it in manually. They just added Mohka to Gearscape. It's in there. Why am I using Scobo in Void? Because those of you who know like gear in this game are going to know like Void is incredibly inaccurate, but it gets bonus max hits. It's more damage than Masori, and you use it in Tob. So why would you use it here when the boss is fairly tanky? He has 90 defense and 160 range defense. Why would you use that? That's because the Scobo has built-in accuracy, so it's already very accurate. And also, it gets 4 max hits from Void. 4 max hits. If you don't have a T-Bow, you don't need Masori. You want to use a Scobo and Void. So it's even cheaper and better. So this is your second best option is this setup. And I have Bofa here just to show it's not very good. Bofa's dramatically worse. You can see it's overall 26% worse than T-Bow. I would not do this content with a Bofa. You can get clears, however, with a Scobo. It's 13% worse. It is a lot worse, and it is... Having good DPS is very important for killing the boss in time. And I'll explain why. We'll get into that. It's important to have really good damage or the boss fight gets even harder. So I can explain stuff, and it's not crazy. I have a pre-recorded footage. This was when I made it to Cave 10. So I have a pretty clean run here, and I'm just going to run through the mechanics and explain them for you guys. First things first, this is what Mohka looks like. Bam, run into the room, we're fighting Mohka. Here are Mohka's basic attacks. All right, we have a Mage attack. It's just a little slow-moving star that comes towards you. And there's Mohka's ranged attack. They're the most obvious attacks like ever. They're extremely bright, extremely obvious what's coming at you. That's the basic attacks. Mage and range. No chip damage through prayer, just block them. Occasionally, and I'll explain what that grub was in just a second. Occasionally, Mohka's going to shoot out a boulder. Now, this boulder is going to be either this color, like a dark greenish brown, or it's going to be blue. It'll look like it's covered in water. What this is telling you is it's going to drop a bunch of rubble on your location, okay, which will damage you if you're standing still. So you've got to move out of the way. It'll do some shadows on the ground, move out of the way. This color tells you what attack he's about to hit you with right after it lands. Because it's dark green, that's a ranged attack. So let's see it in action. It did a little range projectile. Now, that's not a problem. You can react to that early. By Cave 8, it's ridiculous. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. It tells you ahead of time what the prayer is. What are these grubs? They're actually not punishing at all. What they do is they move towards the center of Mohka. When they reach the center of Mohka, they're going to heal Mohka for around 10 health, and it's going to damage you for 1 to 15 damage. Very, very minor punishment. This doesn't change, ever. These grubs always do the same, even the later ones. They can be killed in 1 hit by any Demon Bane weapon that they're not praying against. So if I hit this with an Emberlight, which I'm going to probably do in a second, hiya, it dies instantly. They have 2 health. Any non-Demon Bane does 1 damage. So you technically can kill them without Demon Bane, but you want Demon Bane because there's going to be a billion grubs later on, and you don't have time to tag them. So you need Demon Bane to tag these. When you kill the grub, it's going to do a little 3x3 AoE. This damages you for about 15 after you kill them. You have 1 tick to react and get out of the way if you melee. So you can get out of the way, you don't have to take the damage. I'm standing right in the AoE. Why am I completely safe? Because it hit Mohka instead. Splat that grub right next to Mohka, or underneath Mohka at any point, it'll damage Mohka. You can see this 8 damage. That is that grub exploding, but it doesn't damage me. Anytime the grub is on the field, you want to get close to the corner where it's going to go to. The grubs always go to a corner. Hit the grub next to Mohka. It does free damage for you, and it's not going to damage you. Other nice thing about the grub is it's 0 tick. You might think Zabak Jugs when I say 0 tick, which is when you're off cooldown, you can attack it, and it takes only a single tick to attack it. These aren't 1 tick, they're 0 tick. So that means when you've attacked the boss and you're on cooldown, you can still attack them freely. Ooh, so it's completely free damage. So you can see I'm going to shoot Zabak, or I'm going to shoot Mohka, not Zabak, and it doesn't eat any ticks. I can swing freely, so they cost nothing to attack. Absolutely nothing. Except for manually cast spells or spells cast with a staff, meaning whatever Demon Bane you're casting, if it's praying, and they later will do multiple prayers, when they pray ranged in melee and you have to mage them, you must be off cooldown for it to land. So it's a slight... I feel like that's a bug and they might change that. I'm not sure. There's one more attack, and it's this. You'll see this occasionally. Mohka puts the shield together, does ranged mage pray. All you gotta do is melee. So you're just gonna whack it with an Emberlight like this, and that's immediately gonna break it. If you don't do that, it's gonna hit you for 60 to 99 damage. So don't let that happen. We're gonna be going through the caves, and they're gonna add mechanics as we go. This is one of the new mechanics on Cave 3 that you're gonna run into. So this is, Mohka's gonna do the same thing, where she puts the shield together, and it's gonna do a blue shield instead. Now what this is you can only damage the shield with Demon Bane, okay? It kind of gives me Muzpa vibes. This is why they said it's like Levi and Muzpa. You've got a shield to crack through, kind of like Muzpa. This does not damage Mohka's normal health. It's only going to damage the shield. Now, same as before, we've got a yellow bar charging up. That charges up 60 to 99 damage. Later, it will be 99, so that just kills you, okay? Every time you tag with Demon Bane, it's going to stun Mohka, and it's going to reset that charge, right? So as long as you're constantly hitting with Demon Bane, it's going to keep resetting that meter. Now, the goal is to break the shield. Now, the fastest way to do this is there's going to be constant grubs spawning. You can see there's multiple grubs spawning. When you tag them next to Mohka, unlike before where it does 10 damage, it does 100 shield damage, guaranteed, every single time. When Mohka is doing this attack, he doesn't melee you anymore. So you want to go up within, like, melee range and just tag the grubs. Tag the grubs as they get up close to you, like, repeatedly. Just keep tagging them and break through that shield. And then you just do shots in between. It's kind of, it feels like Smite Muzpa, where it's like you do some damage and then hit the grubs in between. And then it's going to break that shield, and you're going to be back to fighting the boss normally. On the next cave, when you get to this phase, Mohka does this attack. It's going to be a bit different now, because the grubs are going to be colored. And they're going to be praying 2 prayers. So this just tells you the color it is what you have to tag it with. There is no exception to this. So now the toughie is hitting those melee grubs that are going to spawn. They're red. They require you tag them with melee. It can be really brutal because occasionally Mohka's going to spit out this acid all over the place and this venoms you. It's very similar to the monkey room. You have to avoid this while also meleeing the grubs, and sometimes it's in a really bad position. So it's just like an upgraded version of the attack. You're going to see these melee grubs. These are the tough ones to deal with. You're also going to get mage grubs, which means you're sometimes going to have to be off cooldown. It's just a lot more awkward than the phases before, so it's a harder mechanic. When you get to Cave 5 and you break that shield, let me show breaking the shield. It's the same as before. We have extra grubs this time. Cave 5, breaking the shield. Okay, now Mohka is going to turn into a car. And this may be the best attack in the whole game. Mohka turns into a car and is going to place this little eyeball on the ground and drive towards it and try to run you over. Okay? And the very first time you see this is it. So it's just going to do a little eyeball icon, drive it over. It's going to do this 2 times, and then back to fighting normal fight. Now here, we have one more attack that actually comes up in every single cave if you are too slow, but you're only going to start seeing it in max gear in the later caves because you're going to do enough damage you won't end up seeing it. So this is by far the hardest attack to deal with. It's not very intuitive, and it's very, very difficult. So we have all these rocks spawning around the room. What Mohka's going to do is going to spawn a bunch of grubs, shoot out a boulder, like all of this at the same time, and then Mohka's going to slam the ground. He's going to slam the ground repeatedly, and it's going to damage you for 40 each slam. I believe this first time it's 2. In the very first cave, I know it's 1 slam, so it increases in the amount of slams per cave as we go on, okay? So this is how you deal with it. What you are going to do is draw a line, okay? We're going to draw a line. So the way these work is you can attack them. They're 0 tick, just like the grubs. What you want to do is shoot one super far away. So that's why I tag this stalagmite, like way over here. What you're doing when you click the first stalagmite is setting the target. When you tag the second stalagmite, you are spawning an orb that's going to travel from the second one you shot to the first one. Okay? And it's going to go in a straight line. This orb is going to protect you from those slams. And it's going to despawn instantly when she stops slamming. The problem with this, and the thing you're going to run into, is it's incredibly difficult to deal with because it doesn't move intuitively. So what I'd highly recommend is try to draw it a straight line. So you'll see I did an exact straight line in this case. Makes it way easier to follow because it doesn't follow the same pathing that you do as a character. It does NPC pathing, which is opposite. Basically, it does the opposite movement of what you would think of, and it's going to juke you and move all over the place. If you do like this shot to this shot, now you can still make that, but ideally go for a straight line that's really long. So the way you time this, you're like, how do I know when to send the orb? Basically, when it shoots out the boulder, okay? So you want to get this tag off whenever. Doesn't matter when you tag the first one. It's going to shoot out the boulder. Get one more shot off. One more shot off, then go tag. And that's going to work out every single time timing-wise. You can see it's basically immediately after I start that orb, start slamming. So that's how you time it. Absolutely brutal, because all these slams are 40s. 40, 40, 40, 40. You will die. And on Cave 8, which we'll get to, it's 5 fucking slams. 5! Okay, I'm moving on to Cave 6. When you finish that shield phase, and this is the same as before, get all the grubs, Mohka's going to turn into a car. The difference this time is every time Mohka tries to run you over, he's going to do 2 orbs at you. So 2 prayers, and I always forget that. I'm really bad at it. And then it's going to do a slam. So you need to get behind cover. You need to get behind the rocks. That means we need to be intelligent about where we drive Mohka. Okay? Because what can happen is this AoE that Mohka does clears a bunch of the rocks that are nearby. You can see it's cleared almost the whole room. You'll run out of rocks to hide behind quickly. Okay, so Mohka's going to drive over there, getting behind this rock. And luckily, I left this rock. This is the only rock in the whole room left for this final dash. So you can see the eyeball appears. I'm running all the way over there. It's very easy to leave yourself without any rocks left and just be forced to take 40 damage. This slam, visually, goes only to here. That's a bug. You're like, oh, can I just run really far away? No! It hits the whole room. That doesn't work. Thing I didn't mention about the orb, doesn't protect you from these venom splats. So it's really important to avoid the venom splats as well when you're proccing it. This is why the orb is so dangerous. It's so fucking dangerous. It's brutal. It's a brutal attack. I'm going to move on to Cave 8. Cave 8, you're going to have triple spawning grubs. Anytime there's grubs that spawn, there's triple. What I like to do is just get rid of them. Get rid of them because there's too much crap happening to take advantage of that bonus damage. Just get rid of them quickly. Just get rid of them. I get two hits on Mohka here. Nice. I'll take it. Because what's going to happen is Mohka's going to throw 2 boulders. You can see it just barely. There's 2 boulders. Mohka is about to do 8 attacks in a row. Okay? You know it's going to start with Mage because it's blue. All right? So the flick here, you have to dodge 2 sets of rubble. I'm sorry, it's not 8 attacks. It's 6 attacks. 6 attacks in a row. Let me do it one more time. You have to dodge 2 sets of rubble and pray. In this case, Mage, ranged, Mage, Mage, ranged, Mage. It's the exact same, the opposite way if it was dark green. It'll do range, Mage, range, range, Mage, range. These attacks max over 60, by the way, if you miss these. In case you're like, this looks easy. You also often have to deal with the Emberlight tag while doing it. And if you don't get the Emberlight tag, that kills you because it does 99. Okay? Cave 8's really hard. He's not going to just shut your prayer off a single time, which is normally what it does when he throws the boulder. You have to get your prayer back on. He'll actually do it twice. So you'll see my prayer is going to turn off when he throws the boulder. Okay? And you normally are like, okay, I'm going to queue up my prayer, which works the rest of the fight. Watch my prayer. It got pulled off, right? I didn't click that. It got pulled off. So you need to be ready for the second time your prayer disables to pray 6 attacks in a row. It's like a double manticore, basically. It's a lot of things. And you're also trying to dodge rubble on the ground while doing it. It's brutal. It's brutal. This is an extremely high APM part of the fight. It's extremely difficult. But that's how you deal with it. You just do that. And you can see I took the rubble there. It's so hard to dodge the rubble on top of praying all that. The main thing is pray the correct thing. If you take rubble, it's not going to kill you. If you take multiple attacks in a row, that will. That is all of the mechanics Mohka has on offer. So I'm going to run through the whole kill at this point. I'm going to just watch and explain what I'm thinking, what I'm doing. We'll do a voiceover, and I'm going to run over everything. Anytime I'm entering the fight, I basically am always going to open with a ZCB. Always open with a ZCB. He's at just over 500. It's going to do the full damage. Awesome. Get lots of damage off. Here I tag the grub. You see it does 8 damage. And I'm just praying against the basic attacks. Everything seems so slow after you've been to Cave 8 because things get ridiculous fast. Really simple. Just keep T-bowing the boss. Tag this occasionally. I'm going to hit that with an Emberlight to break that. And one more Emberlight. Praying ranged here because it was dark green. Boss dead. Cool. You can actually death charge off of Mohka's corpse every cave as well. So not only do the grubs give you death charge, but so does Mohka. Everything gives you death charge. Everything in here gives you death charge. It's crazy how much death charge procs you get. So you want to be spamming that just constantly. It's ridiculously good. Okay. Oh yeah, it's throwing in a melee attack now. I didn't mention that. It starts throwing in melee prayers as well. You might have noticed it from the cave footage, but after the first cave, it can start doing melee. And the order of the attacks is always the same. It does mage, or ranged, mage, range. It's always the same. So that's nice. You can start building muscle memory for Cave 8 when it gets ridiculous. It's still going to be the same even on Cave 8. Going to tag it with an Emberlight here. Give it a shot. Tag that grub. Maybe not with that, though. Ah! See, you can see it made it. And that 34 was actually a melee. You can see the animation. So you never want to be standing close to Mohka unless it's during the shield phase. That's the only time he doesn't melee. So don't stand next to Mohka normally. It hits you really hard. Same as Leviathan, basically. It can melee you. Okay, the ZCB missed. Very sad. ZCB is the best spec you can use. It's by far the best. I use Ralos to fill with extra spec energy throughout the fight. I'm not using it yet because the kills are really fast at this point. That's a melee right there, 14. But later on, I'll start throwing in Ralos specs on top of the ZCB. Okay, this is the first shield phase. So we're just going to keep shooting it with Scobo. When the grubs get close, I'm going to tag them. And these don't always do these prayers. It could be any 2 prayers, so sometimes you got to tag with melee and Scobo or something. Got to tag with Emberlight. This is always awkward. All right, we're doing good. Again, it's just pray against the basic attacks at the beginning. You could see, like, up to Cave 4, it's really not too bad. Like, I think the majority of the player base can do up to Cave 4 pretty easily. It's just Cave 8 that gets crazy. Here's a mage ranged attack because it was blue. And the DPS is not great, so I'm almost seeing an orb here. So I'm tagging just to set up for it. And I didn't stay in front of the orb, so I actually took 1 orb slam there. You could see that 27. So I got hit by 1 slam. If I was ahead of the orb a little bit, I would have dodged it. Okay, moving on to the next cave. Does orb boost accuracy damage? Not as far as I know. Doesn't seem like it. Okay, we're going to tag with an Emberlight. Going to pray Mage here because it was blue. Mage, ranged Mage. Always tells you the first thing to pray. And a lot of times, Mohka will throw in one last little Hawk Tua, little fucking red projectile at you, so it's usually at the end of those 3. And then we're on shield phase, just spamming scobo shots. Here we've got the colored grubs, so you have to remember you have to be off cooldown for the magic grub, which is really annoying. And the melee grubs you have to run up in melee, so it's a lot more awkward. See, this melee I've got to catch, and it forced me to step into Venom and take a melee. When it's in that bad of a position, just ignore it. Just ignore it, because it only heals the boss 10, and it hurts you a very small number, so that was not worth it. Mage range mage. Tag the grub. Mage range mage. And I see the stalagmites are up, but it's 30 damage. I'm surely I'm going to beat that, and that's what I do. So I just go for the kill. I'd say it's safe to do that at like 80 or lower health when those pop up. If it's like 100 plus, like do the orb protection, because you're not going to beat it likely. Okay, so now I start opening with Ralos, and this is because we have the boss keeps getting more and more health each phase. Boss's defense doesn't reset, or it does reset between phases, by the way. So that's why Ralos isn't crazy good. So it only works for the one phase you're on. But you saw it was 625, and we're starting shield phase now that I got around 500. And we're going to get a bunch of double death charge off the grubs, right? So immediately after this phase, what I can do is open with a ZCB when it turns into a car, which is going to do this time. So again, we're just tagging the grubs. There's a bit more than before, you can tell, which makes it a lot faster, actually. So here you want to open with a ZCB. I was really slow on it, but I could have done way more damage. It would have done about 90 had I used it optimally. So that works really well. And this car, you don't have to get behind cover. The first one is always safe, and it only does 2 dashes. So I know I can safely get into range here. I let him melee me, which was dumb. And here we can see a case where, like I said, if it's like 80, you're good. It was 130 at the start, so I know I'm not going to beat this. So we do the orb setup. I shoot the far one, shoot the close one after I do an attack, and then stick with the orb. It's a very clean solve with the orb. And unfortunately, if you don't beat it after the orb, you have to do another shield phase, so it's hugely slow. Luckily, later phases, like there's a ton of grubs, so it doesn't take that long. But if you don't kill it there, you lose like a minute, just straight up, so. So I'm going to kill Mohka as soon as he turns into a car here. There we go, beautiful. Okay, moving on to Cave 6. So, I would say, at this point, the boss is extremely difficult. Cave 6 is when it really ramps up, like, hard. And you can tell, like, the environment kind of shows that, where, like, everything's on fire. Mage, ranged mage there. Starting to get a little bit faster now, though. It ramps up hard at 6. So, here we're going to do another shield phase. Just tagging all the grubs. You can see there's a ton of them, so it goes pretty quick. And what I'm going to try to do is open with a ZCB here. As soon as he turns into a car. And I think I catch it this time. Yeah. So just get your ZCB on and ready. As soon as you see that shield disappear, do it. Now, one of the things I didn't mention as well, there's still a grub on the field, and I don't deal with it. A lot of times, and I think in this case it did make it. No, it actually despawned in time. The grub almost despawns by the time it reaches the car, and if it dashes away from the grub, it just never reaches it. So you don't even have to tag them with car phase, usually. And the DPS was crazy because of the ZCB spec. Beautiful, killed it before it even did any stalagmites, so really good DPS there. Now we're moving on to Cave 7. Cave 7 is brutal. The attacks get really fast now. And here I want to Ralos when I can. I think I might end up not Ralosing. I should have. I should have still done Ralos. Okay, we got a tag with Emberlight. And you're going to see it's Mage range Mage, but it's fast now. Bam, 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 bam. No time to think. click prayers fast. So Cave 7, really fast prayers. Mage range, mage. Ah! So it comes at you real fast. Just another shield phase. Just gotta hit all the grubs. I'm hitting with the wrong weapons. Oops. It's all good. It worked out. Okay, and here there were a ton of grubs. Don't do anything crazy to go tag those, because you could see it healed 12, and how much did it even hit me? Very little. I think it was a 4. Took 4 damage for that. So one of the problems I kept running into is it was 3. I kept greeting the grubs and getting killed for it when they do like 3 damage. So don't greed. Don't greed. So now we've got to get behind cover. Okay. It's going to run over this rock and destroy it. I see that. So I'm going to get behind these. And what I want to do is bait it this direction, and look at that. There's no rocks left. Unfortunate. And that is what it is. So when you're in this situation, all you can do is try to kill the boss. And I just barely didn't. Try to kill the boss before it hits you, because that is just a guaranteed 40 damage, unfortunately. So if you ever end up without rocks left, unlucky, we did it wrong, you just eat 40 damage. And this is Cave 8. Cave 8 is very, very hard. Okay. So I open with a Rallos. Lots of grubs. Get rid of them. Okay. 2 water prayers. Here we go. Tag with Emberlight. Dodge. Prayers off. Mage, range, mage, mage, range, mage. Woo! And we're good. Always a breath of fresh air once you're through that attack. Okay, now we're into shield phase, so we get to breathe. Shield phase is equally as easy on like 5 and 8, so there's a little breath. Good time if you fucked up some prayers or something. Just brew up on this phase, because your damage doesn't really matter that much, and it's a great time to heal, because the boss isn't doing much. You get some downtime. It's a really good time to brew up if you need to. I don't, but great time to heal if you do need to. I get that ZCB off. And I can see rocks are right next to the boss down here. So I just push Mohka to the corner. And now, what I could have done here is either pushed it this direction, or I could have pushed it straight line, and Mohka would have been right here, and I could have just hid by the rock right next to him. So either way would work. But my solve was good. Block that last wave. Now, if your damage was good, and you opened with ZCB, like I did, and the bow hit, kill the boss! Pray! Because if you have to do the orb, you can see how much acid is on the ground. You are going to have to tank 5 slams in the orb. You have to sit with it for so long, and it's going to throw that 6 prayer attack at you while you do the orb. Okay? So the goal is to do as much damage as possible while Mohka's a car and not have to deal with it. Because if you have to deal with it, I have yet to deal with that attack correctly. I'm going to be honest with you. I have yet to survive that. I'm sure I will at some point. I haven't done it right yet. That is hard as hell. So try to kill the boss in time. It's really brutal. This is a DPS check effectively. It's a skill issue for me because you can deal with the attack. It's a DPS check though. Like, kill the boss before you have to do that. And that is a 1 through 8 Mohka clear. That's what it looks like. So there you go. I would say Cave 6, it ramps up in difficulty massively, and Cave 8, it ramps up in difficulty massively. Cave 8 is insanely brutal. Insanely brutal. If you're looking to go make some money, though, and you're like, I'm not good enough to do that, totally fine. Go through, like, Cave 4, Cave 5, maybe even Cave 6, and just peace. And just do that a few times. Because you can still get loot on the early caves. We've seen a lot of people get loot on early caves. So you still get really good loot. So it's still worth it. Okay, all right. Let me think about other stuff we haven't chatted about. There's a lot. This boss has so much going on. What spec do you use if you don't have a Rallos or a ZCB? You really, really, really want a Rallos and or a ZCB. Like, really bad. Really, really bad. Warhammer's okay. Let me check the accuracy in full ranged, actually. Let me see. 83%. Okay, okay. So, even, okay, this is with treads on, though. Still good. So, even one-way Elder Maul, because the boss is so weak to crush, decent spec, it's going to do that same drain as the Rallos. So, Elder Maul is fairly close to the Rallos. So a Warhammer's also decent. You can see the accuracy's a lot lower though, 73%. So Warhammer's okay as well. Elder Maul better. Warhammer's okay. And beyond that, your spec options are really limited. Like that's about all you should be using because we're in range gear. Nothing else is going to be that great. The boss is extremely tanky to anything that's not crush. So melee specs aren't good. Claws aren't good. Burning claws aren't good because it's 300 defense against stab and slash. Even though it's a demon, not good. Voidwaker, you're in full ranged. So it's barely going to do damage. Your options are really limited. ZCB is the best spec. Rallo second best. Elder Maul third best. Warhammer fourth best. Give up. Because like your options after that are so bad. They're so bad. It's possible when you start meleeing. I think Voidwaker will be the best spec. So likely Voidwaker will be good if we end up meleeing at some point. But I have no clue if that's going to be a thing right now. No idea. Emberlight spec is a stab spec. So you can see if you try to spec with Emberlight, we have an accuracy of 44%. It doesn't land. It's not good. We have an average drain of 6. That's not it. It also doesn't even drain the full amount. So yeah, you can't use that. Is Ward of Arceus worth it? I'm not sure yet if Ward of Arceus works on all the attacks, like the specials and everything. It might only work on the autos. If it works on everything, it's great, but I haven't had time to test it yet. So it may be worth the slot for Natures, for Ward of Arceus. I think that's all you need, right? Just Natures. It may be worth the slot, -1 brew for that defense reduction. I don't know yet. I haven't tested, so hard to say. Oh, also, Surge Pots is a thing that people are mentioning constantly. Why aren't you bringing a Surge Pot? The boss is only a 10-minute fight, roughly, to Cave 8. So you'll, at most, get 3 doses of Surge Pot off per kill, like 1 through 8. It's just not worth the slot over a Brew. Brew is really valuable. You're going to need a lot of it. Surge Pot is nice, but overall, it's just not giving you that much for the slot. Like, you need that Brew. Maybe when we get super good, it'll be worth bringing a Surge Pot, but for now, it's just not it. It's just not worth that slot. Get in there and do some Mohka. Even if you're not a Giga fucking gamer, Giga swag lord, it's okay. Like, you can still go through Cave 4. This is a little less like Coliseum, where it's like, you gotta get to the late waves to get loot. You could still get loot early. I've seen a lot of people get boots. I've seen people get boots on Cave 3. And the boots are... I just bought mine for 1.2 bill just now. So they're expensive. So get in there and get loot. It's super worth it. The boss is incredibly good money right now. Good night to YouTube. Leave a like and or subscribe or else I shoot. Just kidding. I'm doing it anyway. Bang, 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 bang. Bye. Mwah! Okay.